A very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Myself Vaibhav. In today's session of automated trading, we will try to finish up this our setup involving TRIX and TSF, and this is the last and the final part of this series. So most probably we will be able to test it once we are done with the setup. This is the functionality for TRIX and the time series forecast, the TSF. Before we get started, this is a standard disclaimer. Here I would like to remind you that this session is simply for the tutorial purpose and no claim is being made regarding the profitability or otherwise of the algorithms which we will be developing during the session. Suppose if you want to use any of it, I would recommend that you do extensive testing on a historical as well as a demo account to get a clear cut idea of the efficacy of the algorithm. And of course nothing in the webinar is to be constructed as an advice to trade or for any particular setup. With that we get back to our charting. We have finished the sell side now, sorry, the buy side. Now is the time to work on the sell side. For the sell side we want the TRIX value, the magnitude of the TRIX indicator to be below 0, and only then we will be going in for a sell trade. So somewhere here the TRIX value is in sell mode, and then our attention shifts to the direction of the TRIX value. It should be falling further lower, and we will be comparing the last candle close on the hourly time frame and that candle's TRIX value to the candle just prior to it, and then we will do a comparison, and if the value is going lower, then the TRIX conditions are said to be in place. Then the next question is that the last hour's candle close should be below the TSF line, and the prior three candles to the last candle should have closed higher than that. So we will be looking at the cluster of last 4 hourly candles, and then we will do the comparison of their closing levels, and this should be the just start of the trend on the lower side, and that's why we are making sure that the prior candles have closed higher and then the last candle closed lower, which means the selling pressure came in, and now is the time to look for the fresh opportunity there. So that is the point of this combination, and then to execute, to pinpoint the exact entry point, we turn our attention on the historical candles of 1 minute each, and as and when after the initial conditions are in place during the next hour, whenever the price just goes slightly up than the TSF line, and then whenever it starts to fall afterwards, we again look for these closing levels of 1 minute candles, and as and when the requirements are in place, the open at market will execute a market trade. So we will be straight away going in for a trade on the sell side. So now we have to finish that setup. This is the instrument subscription here, Euro USD. The position amount has been defined at 0. The TRIX values of 1 hour defined for the time period of 30, then the TSF. These are default parameters, the 14 and this 30. So we have not made any changes. TSF, as I said, we need to do the comparison of all these TSF values with the respective hourly candles. So we have these defined with the look back period ranging from 1 to 4. Same thing here for the historical candles, 1 hour each. The look back period defined till 4, and then 1 minute each to figure out the exact entry point. And here we have got these ATR. ATR is for the determination of the stop loss and the target range. Then the current TSF value to look on the 1 minute price action, and to define the entry point. This is the calculation for the stop loss and the target price involving the ATR. So we have done that, and then comes the buy side setup. For the sell side, we will be building a symmetrical setup. Only the reaction is going to be reverse or inverse of this. So here we have defined these conditions. We have done the comparison of TRIX values. Then the last hour's candle closing, and then the prior three candles close levels have been taken into account, and then, as I said, we will be comparing this with the current TSF value, and if all the conditions are in place, if all the conditions are going to be fulfilled, then comes the time to execute a buy trade with a stop loss and target well defined. So now is the time to start working on the sell side. So we bring in the if blocks, and we are going to need a lot of weight, but first we will bring 3 for the TSF and sorry, for the TRIX, and then we will define the TSF. We need the TRIX values to be in negative territory below 0, so we do comparison first for TRIX 17 and TRIX 18 straight away. We got TRIX 17, here comes the TRIX 18. Second parameter is 0. Here also it should be 0. And the value should be less than, that is first input less than the second input. First input less than the second input. Okay, done. Now is the time to compare TRIX 17 and TRIX 18 values. And the TRIX 17 should be less than the TRIX 18. That will mean that the TRIX values are going down. So we take this here, it is below 0, and then the TRIX 17 is lower than the TRIX 18. So here comes now first input less than the second input. Okay, so let us take these blocks where they belong, and then we will define the conditions for the TSF. And here it comes. These are connected, TRIX 17, TRIX 18, it is not showing up, but it will be restored fairly soon. So we have this flow color coded, and now is the time to look at the candle closing levels of hourly candles and compare them with the respective TSF value of that hour. And so we begin. So here we will need to look at the first we will need the candle 26 data, candle 26 closing level, and it should have closed higher than that as TSF range. So we look at candle 26 close, auto created variable, candle 26 is here. Let us be doubly sure. Yes, shift 4. So now we look at the closing level for candle 26 and we take the TSF line for hour with look back period of 4, that is line 22, and it should have closed higher. That means candle 26 close is greater than the line 22. So here it should be greater, and then we take candle 25 close, and here it comes. Now the candle 25 close should be higher than that as TSF value, so that will mean it should be higher than line 21, and then comes the candle 24 closing level, and the candle close should be greater than line 20. So here now candle 24's close is supposed to be greater than the line 20. Look back period is same. Then we will need to do the change here. This closing level should be greater than, oops. Okay, then we need to take another E block and flip the condition, that is the last hour should have closed below the TSF, which means candle 23's close should be less than last hour's TSF. So here it and line 19, that means candle 23 should be below line 19. So now we connect the flow to another E block and we take these blocks where they belong. It should be less than the second input. So let us now place all these And now is the time to look at the 1 minute candles and do the comparison with the current hours TSF value. So here we get the closing levels for candle 27 and candle 28. Candle 28 should have closed higher. Here is the candle 28 with look back period of 2, shift 2. That means it is the candle which has closed 2 minutes back and it should have closed higher. So we take candle 28's closing level and there's this candle 28's close. Then we take the line 30 current hours TSF value, and then we take a new if block and new if block is going to be connected with this first input greater than second input. Now the value should start to fall. The price should be below current TSF value. So we now take the closing levels of candle 27. So here we take candle 27 close. Candle 27 close and we compare it to line 30 and line 30 so here now is the time to bring the open at market and it will be a sell side. Oops, something wrong here. Okay, it's working. It will be a sale order and we need to define the input values, and here candle 27's closing level needs to be less, so we define this first input less than the second input, and now is the time to add the stop loss and the target levels, for which the calculation has already been done. So we define these parameters. Oops. Slippage 2 pips, good enough. Trade amount, we generally go with a trade amount of 0.1, and the instrument remains at remains as it is. Stop loss SL, this is the parameter, and the target price take profit TP. So we are almost done. Now is the time to do the testing. We are ready to do the testing after 3 days of this setup being built. Yeah. Now we got this slippage, the lot amount, stop loss, take profit. Everything has been well defined. So I'm pretty hopeful of it being a profitable setup. Let's see. Let us first save the draft and then we will export it. June 8th. Okay. File has been saved. Now we export it in Java format and then we will import it in our JForex platform. Oops. And this is June 20, June 2nd, May 28. Okay, this is third algorithm which we have developed or finished developing this month. So now we import that file here. We have here a couple of algorithms which are already running for the testing. This is a demo count. I keep many of the algorithms running here to see what kind of trading they do in real time. So here we are. Windows C, tech and algorithm. Okay, we have got the file and there is the code in Java. So if you are well familiar with the Java, you can take a look on the code and see how it has been developed. First, we will need to do the compilation. So we compile the file and compilation is successful. So we are ready to roll. We tested on last week to see how it might have performed if it was running. Previous week account 1 lakh is good enough. 0.1 million. The instrument is also fine. And we don't do many changes in this parameter. The page is 2 pips and ready to roll. Let's see what kind of results we get to observe. So here the test run begins from 1st June. stands, we had two trades which have ended in profit during the last week's testing. So here the test run is complete, and as you can see, we made a decent amount of profit, but this is the test data for last week only, so we can't make a sweeping conclusion based on this. We will need to test it for a lot longer time periods, maybe even more than a year. So you will need to do it on your own if you want to use this particular setup, but it's looking good enough and it's working, it's functional. So I will now with that I sign off for the day. We will be back for a fresh setup tomorrow. So see you tomorrow. Goodbye.